Hi everyone, welcome to Deadline Dilemmas. Pras, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm watching your team every week, and you're like, you know, what is it? Hitting it out of the park, man. What's your secret, man? What is your, people who are listening who want to catch up? What's your secret? You need to tell them.
You sound worried, Pras. You sound worried. Yeah, it's lucky you've got that buffer, Pras.
I mean, what can I say? I don't want to. Say, what is it like? 100 points?
It's about 100 points.
I like
It's
my
about
chances.
it's
Chances of
about
100
100
points.
points difference. Yeah, I don't think you're losing any sleep over it. But it was an incredible December, Pras. Thankfully, I've actually had one good month, which feels quite nice because we love FPL. We talk about FPL all the time, and it can be a little bit disheartening where every time I log it in, I'm seeing a red arrow. So yeah, it's a very good December, and maybe the secret is obviously talking FPL with you every week. That's what's
I mean,
helping.
but actually, look. I mean, on a serious note, you obviously turned it around. There's obviously luck involved, right? But there's also, I think, the FPL game is also mental, right? I mean, in terms of, and we
Yeah.
know this in gaming, any game, when we are on a tilt, when we're not thinking clearly, we go worse, we do worse, we do worse, and then you get into this spiral, which is basically the tilt. So there are people listening who are still having a not great season, or they're not happy with their rank. So tell us about it. Like, how did your decision making change? Did you change anything? Did you just leave everything and started to be more patient? What was it that worked?
So you're actually right. I did get into that mode where every week I'm making what I think is good decisions. We're talking FPL. I even had a look back to see if I was making crazy decisions, and they were not. I was very unfortunate in certain of them. But it did reach a stage. Excuse me, still got this cough. It did reach a stage, price where I was started to force it,
Yeah.
and then it got worse, and it was like complete escalation, and it nearly finished me off when I kept faith of Haaland, and he went through that phase where his XG was crazy, and everyone like you that went Salah first. Salah's XG was very small, but scoring 12 to 15 points every game. So that nearly finished me off. But what I done after that, I just stepped back a little bit, and then I did make a couple of changes, slight changes, and from then on, if I'm honest with you, Praz, I've had some fortune come my way. And a big example is, so apart from stepping back and just slowing down, I stopped making any like almost trying to chase points, because I always felt like I was 3 moves, 4 moves behind you, a team
Mm.
that was flying. And I just stepped back and let the team flow. And an example of that is in Bumo, for example. I was so close to selling him, Prez. So close.
Yeah, we talk every week. You're like, I'll do
Remember,
Mbumo, I'll buy this player, and then I
yep.
can buy this player.
But he summed up a combination of luck, but also that patience. That patience. It was during the period where the Liverpool game got cancelled, and I said, I'm not
Mm.
going to make no moves. He ended up staying in the team, and since then, Prez, he scored 40 points. I mean, that's a game changer. So that's one of the moves. And then I got fortunate, or maybe good moves in certain other places, in up top, in defense, and slowly but surely things started to come together. So it's just a combination. I just stepped back a little bit and stopped forcing the moves, and also got a bit lucky as well. That's it, really, Praz. I wish there was more to it. Otherwise, I still think I was managing the exact same way from game week 1 to game week 8. After that, okay, I started to do a couple of panic moves, but yeah.
I mean, the skill that people talk about in FPL is basically decision making, right? The
Yeah,
choices, because it's a game of choices. And I genuinely think that if you, there is a thing called momentum in this game, where if you
100%.
have one good week, then suddenly you're not panicked because other people are buying the players you have. So you see the price changes and you go, oh, all my players are rising, or a lot of my players are rising. So it's looking good. You are then thinking more clearly on what I should be doing next. I think the ability to roll transfers also plays in people's hands. If you're doing well, you continue to do well because you just keep rolling, man. Like, as long as your players keep doing well, you're like on 3 free transfers, I think, now. And you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, I let people get my players. And this is what was happening to me early season. And it's honestly insane. Like, if you get a string of good luck, then that momentum is just so strong. Then of course it also dies down. Sometimes you're brought down to earth. Like this week I had a reasonably big red arrow, but again, I think it's all team dependent, right? I don't think there's any problem with my team. So you have to differentiate
No.
between, was I unlucky in a particular week, versus, is my team radically bad and I need to start taking hits? And I think you being patient worked out really well.
It did work out. And just to add to that point, FPL, when you're getting red arrows and things are not working out for you, 100% Pres, that it almost looks difficult. Even basic decisions which you might take when you're flying, take a couple of seconds, they become difficult decisions. And now recently, say this December, my decisions all of a sudden seem to be straightforward. Like it's honestly so easy. And this is the thing, it's hard to get into that flow. If you're fortunate enough and you start off like that and you can ride that wave, it's gorgeous. But I didn't have that. I had a very difficult period. So I've just managed, as I said, it's only December, Praz, and look at the difference it's made. Like you said, it's made a huge difference.
I mean, I'm
Huge
looking at
difference.
your rank history. You've gone from 3.6 million in
Yeah.
game week 12
Yep.
to 700k, which is actually really good. Like 700k, you can do anything. And you remember, were we on record last time, or was it after we recorded when I said you can finish top 50k? Don't worry about
Yeah,
it. I think
you
it was
said,
after we finished
I
recording.
think it was after. Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
I did a little
Anyway,
chat after recording.
I still think so. So good on you. And I think people who are outside the million, don't worry about it. You can all still finish in top 50k. All you need is a lot of luck, of course, but just clear-headed decision making. And we have a guy right here who's doing it.
I hope so. Well, let's hope it continues, Praz. It's still early days, but I've got half of the season now. Like you said, hopefully, if I can continue like this, or at least another month like this, honestly, would put me in a real good position. But let's see. As I said, this December, Praz, I didn't really go below 60, I think, 4 points. And it was
Yep.
averages were very high. This every week between, say, the average was 70 for me. That's extremely high. In FPL, if you're averaging even 60, you're flying. So,
Yep.
yeah, it was
Salah
very,
does
very.
that.
So yeah, I mean, unreal, yeah, unreal. But let's see if this can continue then, Praz. So this week we've got a little bit more to discuss apart from our teams as well, because we're reaching the stage of chip season and we've had the Carabao Cup first legs basically, so we can actually start talking about predicted blanks in game week 29. So I'd love to have your thoughts on early chip strategy and what you think is going to happen.
Well, chip strategy, no, let's not go into chip strategy, because I think what people need to do is be open about the chip strategy. What happens is, and this happened when basically Newcastle beat Arsenal on Tuesday, I think, was it? And I tweeted one thing
Yes.
that, okay, now that they've beaten them, there's like a new chip strategy that has opened up where, there's another path. And so people went, okay, locked in, we are doing this. And I'm like, no, that's not the point. The point is that at this stage, you should be basically doing what you call sorting. And once you find out probabilities, and once you find out where the games are falling and what's going to happen, you need to look at your team and start doing sorting. That, okay, if Liverpool are going to double and then blank and then double, then I think free hit might make sense, unless I need to use all these transfers for Liverpool. So you need to start putting these things in your mind, which is the way you have to start thinking about. Not that, oh, Pras has decided that he's not going to free hit in 29, so I'm not going to free hit in 29. That's not the way chip strategy should work. So anyway, with that caveat, I think let's take a step back for people who are not as familiar with the doubles and the blanks. The way it happens this year is actually fairly straightforward, which is we have this double coming up, hopefully, for this Liverpool Everton game, which was not supposed to be planned. Of course, the weather created that postponement. We were supposed to have 4 game weeks this year with doubles and blanks. Game week 29 was going to be a blank for the teams that reached the Carabao Cup final. Before the game week started, everybody was predicting Arsenal to beat Newcastle and Liverpool to beat Spurs, but football will always football. And so the opposite has happened. But in Liverpool's case, they still have the home leg. So I think the markets still have them as favorites to go through, and I think that's fair. I think their favorites have gone from like being 80% favorites to maybe 60% favorites, but they're still favorites. You would think at Anfield turning a 1-0 lead, you would think they'd be able to do that. Of course, credit to Spurs; they were really good last night.
Agree.
On Arsenal's hand, I was actually at the game, and man, Newcastle are good, man. As a neutral, I was watching the game. I was like, Arsenal don't look like the team that are fighting for the Premier League, and Newcastle looked the much better team, and they were at home. Like Arsenal were at home, so they gave them a proper match. Now Arsenal had a lot of chances, so I don't want to take that away from them. But
Their
I'm just
XG
in
was quite high,
general,
wasn't it, Prez? Their
yeah, but
XG
they were
was
like 3 chances of
yeah,
corners and 1 Martinelli chance that created very, very high XG. So yes, they
yeah,
should have scored. But I'm saying general open play, what I felt between the teams, the control in the game, the passing, the runs. Isak was the best player on the pitch by far. Odegaard had a bad game. Martinelli had a good game. So you
yeah.
could see some of these things. Gordon was incredible. So I digress. But basically, long story short, now Newcastle are strong favorites to proceed. So this now means that if Newcastle proceed and Liverpool proceed, that's the scenario up on top, which is basically it will create a blank of Newcastle and Crystal Palace, because Crystal Palace are the opponents for Newcastle in game week 29. And it will be Villa and Liverpool that will also have the blank if Liverpool make the final. Now you could think that Spurs make it. That's the second likeliest scenario, and that's basically the same Newcastle game as well as the Fulham Spurs game. So why does this matter? It matters because this will be the first blank that we'll have, and most people will have a lot of players from Newcastle, from Crystal Palace, from Liverpool,
Yeah.
and even Villa. Like people have
Yep.
Rodgers, some have Watkins. So you need to fairly soon start to think about, do I want to navigate this blank game week because it's going to be a rubbish game week? Because it could be, because Arsenal are also playing Chelsea. Even if there is a game, Arsenal Chelsea doesn't scream huge upside, right?
Yeah.
Because you have Arsenal defenders and you have Palmer. So you need to basically at some point in the next 3-4 weeks start to decide, am I going to free hit in game week 29 or I'm not going to free hit in 29? Then let's proceed. What happens to these games that are postponed? They will go into game week 33. So this was game week 29, by the way. Yeah, if you go
Sorry.
to the
Yeah.
next slide, this is game week 29. So you can see here, if you remove, let's say, the two most likely games that are going to be postponed, which is Newcastle Crystal Palace, it's the second from bottom, and the second from the top is Aston Villa Liverpool. That's your game week if
Yeah.
the favorites now go through. So what are we thinking? Like,
That's 4
Bournemouth.
players from Newcastle and Crystal Palace for me. That's 4 straight away, and then Liverpool 2 as of now.
You will have 3 from Liverpool, because if
For the
Liverpool have a double,
Yeah. Yeah.
so you need to start thinking about that. And you'll go where, so it's easy. I'll just free hit, but it's not so easy, because there's going to be another blank, which is an even bigger blank.
Yeah.
It may not be as painful a blank, but it could potentially be a bigger blank. And so these games that are moved from game week 29 will go to game week 33. So 33 will become a double. So let's take an example of Liverpool, right? Liverpool will have a double in 24 or 25 for that Everton game. They will have a blank in 29. They will have a double in 33. Then let's go to game week 34. 34 is a blank again for all the teams that will make the FA Cup semi-final. So you reckon Liverpool make the semi-final, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they should. They're a top.
Yeah.
I mean, the draw can change things. If Liverpool draw Arsenal or Liverpool draw Man City, you never know. But they should make it. So let's take Liverpool's example. Liverpool double in 25, blank in 29, double in 33, blank in 34, and that game is then postponed to 36. That's how tricky this period is. So if you've used up your chips, save a lot of transfers. If you haven't used up your chips, save transfers and save your chips.
Yeah.
So this is the situation. Why 3 weeks ago I've been crying out for, stop making short-term punty moves, stop chasing these players which you are not sure of that you will hold, stop chasing the Diazes, the Jesuses, who you're not sure are going to be nailed 4 weeks down the line, because you want to use your transfers now on how to navigate your Liverpools, your Newcastles, your potentially your Arsenals. That's where we are from a very broad perspective.
That's made me even more worried about what you just explained there, but also I'm quite happy that the squad's in a healthy place and I've started to roll transfers already, Pras. So in some ways, I'm already prepping for this period. How not envious is the wrong word, but I think me and you both used our triple captain already. Did you use it as well, Pras?
Yeah. I did game week 9.
Yeah.
It's a tip, man. Like you give 20 points to other people. Like that's what it is. So be prepared to give up 15 to 20 points to other field, and recognize that you yourself made some points. I think Haaland got six, right, in that game that we triple captain. If whoever people captain, they get a hat trick, that's 17. You lost 11 points. Like, there's a lot of FOMO with chips, but it's not the end of the world.
Not the
like,
end of
it's
the world.
fine. So, and that's when they score a hat trick, right? So it is what it is. I think there's no issue with the decision making, because as you can see now how the blanks and doubles are falling. We knew this in the early game weeks, and we knew that there will not be enough double game weeks and blanks to have a clear week to triple captain in a double game week, until the bloody weather, Storm Dara or whatever that was, that postponed a game. Now again, people will say, okay, it was winter, games get postponed all the time, it's your fault for playing it. I accept that. That's fine. There was a lot of Haaland versus Southampton, he's going to score 20 goals. That's the game we play.
Yeah. No, I'm in agreement with you, and I think as we progress week in, week out, we will discuss more detailed chip strategy. Like you said, this is not for now. This is just early look at the potential blank 29. From my perspective, I was watching that match. I was quite frustrated with Liverpool's last two games, Praz, against your boys, United. You put in an excellent performance. Everyone was expecting 5, 6, 7, and football don't work like that. And then against Spurs, another mediocre performance. But I'm hoping, like you said, we can turn it around for the second leg, because I want Liverpool to be in the final, of course. And I think it's going to happen. I think the top permutation is still spot on. So I need to be prepared for that. God.
I mean, if Liverpool do happen to go out and we're in the second scenario, I think that'll bail a lot of people out.
It would.
Because at some point, then people will say, I'm going to hold on to my triple Liverpool. I already have 2 Arsenal. I already have Cole Palmer. I'll just bench my Newcastle and Crystal Palace players or sell 1 or 2 of them and just deal with 29 quite easily. So it will actually save a lot of people from, a potential issue. Because
is there a preference you want, Prez? A preference of the how you want this
I love
permutations to finish?
I
So
love
you
carnage.
want it to be crazy? Okay.
I want Liverpool to go through, and I want actually between Newcastle and Arsenal, it doesn't matter because there's carnage either way. Because a lot of people have players from Arsenal and Chelsea, a lot of people have players from Newcastle and Crystal Palace. It's the other one where I feel not a lot of people have any Spurs, maximum 1 Fulham, maybe 2, and those are sellable, right? Those are not players you have to keep. Whereas Salah, people will be like, okay, for example, me, I have a very good team value this year. I am ready to sell Salah in Game Week 29. And I will take the value hit, whatever 0.5 million. I'll get Haaland and I'll captain him for blank. And I feel a lot of people will hesitate to do that because either they don't have enough transfers, they don't want to lose value or whatever. So I would love that. And it would create more carnage. And I want this scenario of Liverpool double, blank, double, blank, double.
And you're thinking how a good FPL manager would really think. The more carnage, the more potential for gains, basically. That's how I see it as well. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, the team value one, of course, that's if you've had a great start to the season and you've picked all the right players, but you can still make the gains in this carnage just by good planning, and hopefully that should
team value, like nobody remembers their team value from last season, right? It's there to spend when you need it. So we'll see. Like, of course, plans change. I could end up free hitting in Game Week 29. I could end up not selling Salah because I have other problems in my team. So I'm not saying it's absolutely something I'll do, but I think people will just need to have their minds open and not go like, okay, Andy Martin is free hitting in free hit 20 in Game Week 29, so I'm going to free hit in Game Week 29. I think people need to have a little bit more open mind. And at the moment, the best way to have an open mind is do nothing. Only fix your problems with long-term solutions. Don't do João Pedro to, Jamie Vardy or whatever. Like, find long-term solutions to problems and then take it from there.
I've still got a bias from last season, Price, because I used it on the blank game week and I had a hideous score. It was hilarious. I don't think I can ever remove.
I did that as well, and I will do it again. Like, just because outcome was bad doesn't mean
of course, Price. But I'm just reminding myself. I don't know about you, Price. My one was actually, it was hilarious. It was. I saw people getting more scores with like one player that returned than my whole team.
I get it. That was hilariously bad.
It was, yeah.
But for people who will laugh at that, I will say to them that you may not have the chance to free hit in a double game week this year. Like last year, a lot of people free hit it in game week 34. You remember?
Yeah.
This year, there's only 2 doubles. Well, 3 if you count this small double. But let's say you have triple captaincy left for that. In the other 2 doubles, you want to use your bench boost and your assistant manager chip, because I've covered this in the past that the assistant manager chip is the most upside play. So you want to have 4 games for that. So it's going to be difficult free hitting in a double game week. So this is, something to think about, not to overly complicate people's minds. A lot of, the picture might change again over the weekend. We have the FA Cup games.
Yeah.
And, something like if Arsenal lose to Man United. Now, again, no fan bias here. I'm just saying, like, a big team going out to another Premier League team would change the landscape, because then Arsenal would potentially have no doubles or blanks going forward.
Agreed.
So it would be a team that you can have no blanks for Arsenal anymore. So these things will happen. And so look out for more tweets, more information as we get to the Monday draw, which is the FA Cup 4th round draw, where again you'll get more information. Like I said, if Liverpool draw Arsenal or Man City draw Chelsea, then you know that one of those teams will definitely go out. That means one of those teams will definitely not double and then not blank.
Yeah.
So
It's
anyway,
big
enough
changes. There's
about
still
chip strats here.
Yeah, no, exactly. That I was gonna say it's perfect segue straight into my team. There's loads more information, and we're gonna cover this in more detail, Press. Or I'm gonna be tapping your brains as we get close to that period. But for now, let me run you through my team, Press. So currently
Yep.
free transfers in the bank and 0.8 in the bank. Okay. Sales, the absolute superstar for me this season. He's another
I
move,
hate him.
Press, that started that period. You hate him, yeah, Press, yeah?
Yeah, and the guy is like, did you see the game? Did you see
Yeah.
the
Yes.
chances that Strand
Yeah.
Larsen had?
Yeah, I saw, Prez. And you
The
know how
only
hard it is to
reason why I
watch.
was not no gone.
I was going to say, you know how difficult it is to watch where the last player of your game week is a goalkeeper. It's almost the worst, isn't it? I was watching it thinking,
No, it's
there's
worse
no
if you
good.
don't own that goalkeeper and he keeps a clean sheet.
Yeah, a 9-pointer, Prez. But
Well,
you're right.
he was. I mean, I had Chris Wood and he scored, so I was not that salty. But I can imagine people like on Sunday night who had no more Nottingham Forest. I remember so many people tweeting, 81 all out, magnificent week, smashed it, rank up by 500k and whatever. And then Nottingham Forest says, wait, you're not rank up by 500 because now the defense and Chris Wood is well owed. So yeah,
Chris Wood actually dented my rank as well. I was surprised. Yeah, he's quite
he's
powerful.
50% owned now.
There you go. When he returns, I was quite surprised. I mean, I countered it a little bit with sales, but still, it couldn't stop the damage he produced. But yeah, so Sales, the superstar, he started off this good period, Praz. Since he's come in, he's been an absolute gem. So that's one good thing I got correct this season. In defense, Gabriel, Hall, and Trent, who had an absolute stinker against your team. A lot of discussion regarding him. We might come back to him in a bit more detail. So that's the defense. Midfield is currently a midfield 5. So it's Palmer, Salah, Mbumo, another superstar, and Gordon, who I followed you, like similar transfer to you, or same transfer, sorry, is you last week, Prez, and Saar. Up front is Raul Jimenez, who scored in tonight another penalty. Prez, just saying we're recording
Pen
Thursday
merchant,
night.
man.
Pen merchant, don't knock it, Prez. Last week I had
No, I
4
don't.
plays in my
I
team,
love
4
penalty.
pens.
I love pen takers.
I had 4 returns from pens. I'll take it. And then the absolute superstar, like you said, you watched him live midweek. Isak is just a top bracket player, and I think everyone owns him. On the bench, I've got Fabianski yellow flagged. I've got João Pedro, who's freshly yellow flagged. So he was actually starting before Praz. I had a bit of a benching dilemma. It was between him and
Who was he
Saar.
starting instead of?
Saar, believe it or not. And I know Saar's versus Leicester. I know what you're going to say.
Leicester.
I know, Praz. I know, but I was stuck. I thought that I was going to swap it actually because I thought Raul Jimenez, now West Ham's got the new manager bounce. It threw me off a little bit. I'm at basic. You could tell by this, I was still not fully committed to anything. But let me continue. So the second, I've got Timber on the bench as well. We discussed him in detail last week. You suggesting potentially maybe the double Arsenal defense time could be gone. Yeah. I've not made a decision, hence why he's still in the squad on the bench. And last is Greaves, which is again being patient. Praz, remember I nearly got rid of him for no apparent reason. I thought I could just upgrade the defense, but I would have given myself benching dilemmas.
Yeah.
But this is the team. It looks again for this week, I think, pretty well set up, Praz.
You're going for 5, man. You're going for 5 free transfers. I think so. Look, the team looks good. Another week, I would have told you Mbumo can go because he has Liverpool right after this, but Mbumo's fine, right? I mean, he's doing all right. Got that mega haul away from home. Their home form has been fine. Yeah. So I think he's okay. And Jimenez is I would have played João Pedro over Jimenez, but those listening, João Pedro basically has apparently twisted his ankle and he's missing the Coventry game. That's what the manager said. So he didn't say anything more than that, but he also said we're waiting for an MRI scan. So the other complication with it is we may not know because their game is on Thursday next week. The deadline is Tuesday. Their press conference might be Wednesday. So it might be that, we will not hear about João Pedro. So there is a clear dilemma here. I would actually say just start João Pedro over Raul Jimenez.
And just if he doesn't play, he more than likely won't even come on at all.
Of course, you have twisted ankle. Either it's nothing or you miss out completely. That's what.
But what makes you think why just the fixture is superior because Ipswich basically instead of West Ham, and you think the manager bounced because I mean West Ham are just as poor as well.
Yeah, but Graham Potter is good, man, and it's a new manager.
Yeah,
so
I did think
like that. I reckon it's doable. Like if João Pedro was fit, I would say it with full confidence. But of course, now there's less confidence. There is a chance that João Pedro is okay, but he doesn't start because he did twist his ankle. He's on the bench.
Yeah.
So it's a difficult call. And Raul Jimenez is fine. He got a rest today. He played 45 minutes.
Yeah, yeah, he
So
came on. Yeah.
I think it was pre-planned. Muniz playing one half and Jimenez
Yep.
playing one half. Both scored. So yeah, look, I mean, it's your call. But let's start with defense. Actually, I have a few questions. So
Mhm.
I know there is a lot of love for Sells, but is there any thought on moving him? Because now, if you go back to the fixture ticker. If you look at Nottingham Forest, tell me,
Yeah.
apart from next game week, which is home to Southampton, where is a banker clean sheet for you?
I'm not sure where it will come. The way Nottingham Forest are playing at the moment, Perez, they are really. I know you're going to say, of course, fixtures is what makes this, and the reason you're asking that
Also, you
question.
have Captain Salah, so you clearly think that Liverpool will do well.
I'm not fixed on captaincy. We're going to come
Okay,
back
so
to
we'll
that.
come back
That's
to
another
captaincy.
point. Yeah,
We'll
we'll come
come
back to
back.
captaincy. But to answer your question, Prez, I still think they keep a good amount in those fixtures there. I still think there's a good enough clean sheet. The way they're playing this season, they're playing in the mold of he was a goalkeeper, Nuno. Surprise, surprise. And his team, they're just defending with numbers and heart. And I think there will be enough clean sheets to maybe not force a move there, Prez, unless the move
I'm not forcing it. I'm asking the question.
No, I know, but I'm saying if there is a move potentially, Prez, that can give me that can improve it in doubles and other chip strategies and or blanks, whatever I'm thinking of, then okay. But if it's just for moving a goalkeeper for the sake of trying to get one of better fixtures, for example, I don't, for example, look at Crystal Palace fixtures are gorgeous. I don't have envy of Henderson one bit. I think Sales outscores him comfortably in this period still. That's the honest truth because the way Crystal Palace
Fair
are
enough. If
defending.
that's your view,
Yeah, that's what I'm
But
thinking, Prez, at the moment.
when I look at Nottingham Forest's fixtures,
Yes.
Liverpool score. Okay, Southampton clean sheet. I give you that. Bournemouth
Yeah.
away. Bournemouth have beaten everyone. Man
But
City, Arsenal.
they've lost all their players, Prez. They've lost a couple of key players.
Just Ivan Nilsson.
Yeah, and okay, and Unal, okay, he wasn't exactly starting, but no problem.
Yeah.
But who? I mean,
so okay, fine. Okay, you think it Bournemouth away they'll keep a clean sheet.
I think there's a good
Brighton
watch
home.
out.
Brighton are a good team, but okay, maybe there's a chance.
There's
Fulham
a-
away. Fulham good team.
Fulham
Newcastle
will be-
away. Newcastle are on
Okay,
fire.
no, they'll score there. Yeah, they'll score.
Arsenal home. Man City home.
Arsenal score. Man City, yeah, I think those three are. I'm relying on safe points there, Prez.
So okay, I'm just saying. Look, honest. This week, sometimes I'm on the panel for the official FPL. So on Sunday, they basically reach out for views. The expert views.
Yes,
And
yes.
so the one they allocated to me was, do you think we should double up? Is it time to double up on Nottingham Forest defense? My reply is, what are you smoking, man? Like this, have you looked at the fixtures? Like, okay, I might offend people who have double Nottingham Forest. Look, it has done incredibly. So I
Yeah.
applaud you. But our job as good content creators is to give a future view.
Yeah.
And we cannot be wishy-washy and say, oh, they've looked so good that they can keep a clean sheet against anyone. That is BS. Nobody can keep a clean sheet against anyone. They are improving. They're a very good team. They deserve to be in the top 4. Their defense has been elite.
Yeah.
But these fixtures are not good at all. I see 2 clean sheets in the next 8. Is that enough?
I think
Maybe.
there'll be more. I think there'll be more, Prez. I think more than
Then keep him.
than
Then
2.
keep him.
But I'm not fixed. I'm just saying to you, I'm just trying to be honest, I've not actually even considered it. I think maybe after the Southampton, the Liverpool game, I want him to concede. But after Southampton, Prez, I think maybe I'll assess them because I might be reaching Prez. It might coincide, Prez, with me reaching 5 transfers and I actually have to use one. Then there's no excuse to target that. If that makes sense, Prez, it might.
It does.
It might reach that situation, Prez, where I'm thinking, okay, you know what? I'm not going to burn a transfer. Let me improve the goalkeeper. But Sales has been a star, and you're right. You shouldn't be using pass just because he's done me well. Doesn't mean it's going to continue. These fixtures are much more difficult than a lot of the players up there. So the team, up there. But I've not. No, when you asked me the question, Prez, to answer you, I've not considered that position. I mean,
all I'll say is, as a recommendation, play him for the next 2 weeks because we're all saying Southampton home is beautiful, right? So even if he keeps 1 clean sheet in the next 2, fair enough. That's a result. Like you can't say that on anyone else. So keep him for the next 2. I think 2 things will happen in that period. You will find out if Potter likes who's your second. Is Fabianski, right? Your second keeper.
Yeah.
So you will find out who Potter likes. is it Areola or Fabianski? Because then you'll find out, do you even have a second keeper? Because
Exactly.
you then need to start thinking about blank game week 29 and saying, if I went sells to Henderson and Fabianski is not the preferred keeper, then you won't have a keeper in game week 29.
Exactly.
So you will get more information in the next 2 weeks and then make an informed decision. But I think in 2 weeks, I'll be sitting here again and asking you, why the hell do you still own sales?
And
That's just my view.
no, totally, Press. And I think I would find it more difficult to give you that answer I just gave you in 2 weeks' time. That's the honest truth. I think at the moment now, the Liverpool one, no problem. You take that hit. The Southampton one, I think there's a good probability there of a clean sheet. So the goalkeeper, I think maybe in 2 weeks, Press, I'll come back to that and actually consider.
You never know. Like Potter could be great and Fabianski's number one, and you can actually bench sales for some of the games. You could play Fabianski instead.
That would be the dream, though. That's when things really align, when the stars align for you, Praz. If that happens, like you said, then I've got the potential of rotating them on the horrible fixtures, like gamble maybe against, like the last three, City, Arsenal, and all that stuff there. I could just bench him. So that's what I'm thinking about the goalkeeper, Praz. I've not considered it for the next two, okay? Defense, though, I did have something. There is a player, it's not FOMO, but I watch. It's the Crystal Palace player. You've already got him. It's Munoz. Okay, Brad?
Munoz is scoring 15 points in the next 5 weeks, one of the weeks.
I think so as well, Praz. I think it's inevitable. I've seen the chances, Praz. I was watching him, and in my videos, I've done like a little detailed dive about him, and that's what really opened my eyes. I was like, hang on, this is like the Crystal Palace, the majority of the attacks, Praz, are coming through him. So I think it's inevitable. And he should have already had a couple of returns. I know that for a fact. He should have had a couple of assists, a couple of Eze, and I forgot who else is it, Mateta. They just blundered the chance.
Yeah.
So he's one player, Praz, I was actually considering. So I could easily do it. Timber, like you said, Arsenal double, maybe not vital at the moment. I could go Timber to Moniz. Then I've got a benching dilemma, though. That's the problem.
Yeah, but this week you've got Hall, right?
That's my point, Praz. I mean,
who will you bench?
Really a move. I couldn't. Hall against Wolves. I mean, Newcastle, you've said yourself, you watched them at first hand. They're excellent.
Don't bench Hall.
No, he can't be benched. And then you're at the realms of Gabriel against Tottenham. I know it's the North London derby. It's more should be a heated game. There's more. They might concede, but I can't bench Gabriel. No, exactly that, Prez. And then I've got Trent, who, yes, he was horrible. Yes, we know Bradley's back, but Trent, you can't get rid of him. He's surely going to start against the Nottingham Forest, Prez. So
that's not a dilemma. Like this week, just chill. You don't need to do anything in your defense. If anything happens, be ready to get Munoz next week. But this is not, it will be very much a FOMO or forcing move. People who have them is great, but Hall could outscore Munoz. There's nothing, any of these three defenders could outscore Munoz.
And you asked earlier on, Prez, what have I been doing different? And it's stuff like this. I think start of the season, I would have bought him in without even any consideration of what I've got in my team. I think I would have just, because the new shiny toy, he's exciting. I've watched him, and I think I just want him in. And then I would have probably benched Hall or someone for the 15 points. So defense, I'm quite happy with it. Goalkeeper, I'll reconsider maybe in 2 weeks, Perez. Midfield, I can't see anything. The obvious, the standout one, there's in Boomo, but I quite like the fixture against Manchester City, Perez. I saw the amount of chances West Ham created against Manchester City, and that gave me enough, of confidence to play in Boomo, and he's playing pretty well at the moment.
Yep.
And so I was thinking, there's no point moving him on, Press. There's the only if I want to tell you a little bit of FOMO, is the player I bought in 2 weeks ago, Bruno Fernandes, has got the gorgeous fixture. He would have been in my team, Press, but now he's not there. That's the only one I can see a glaring. Things didn't go my way, you could argue. I bought him in, he got a red card, and I didn't bench him. But I'm quite happy with everything.
I own Bruno Fernandes, and I'm not going to recommend him to anyone. I'm done recommending Bruno Fernandes. I think he's rubbish. No one should buy him. Your midfield is fine. You don't need to.
Why are you saying you're not recommending him? You're being sarcastic there, Praz. Is it because you want all the points yourself? He's mostly going to score.
I just feel people don't like him. When I talk about him, people say it's Man United bias. I have him. I'm keeping him. And that's it. If people have a strong desire to buy him, they can do it themselves. I'm not going to push people to.
You're not going to encourage. I actually think he's a very good pick, and he showed against against Liverpool game, the captain's performance. He's got it in the locker. He returned in a game no one expected, and against Southampton, I think there's.
He was the best player by far on that pitch against Liverpool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he had an
Agree.
incredible game, but that doesn't mean FPL, right? That
No, I
he
know,
blanked
Praz.
in
I
the
know,
next
Praz.
game.
I know.
So, and Man United have an issue, by the way, of doing well against good teams and doing badly
Yeah.
against bad teams. So this is why, on a lot of models, by the way, he is highest expected points of all players. He's the
Wow.
recommended captain. I'm not captaining, no chance. But I'm
Is that no
happy to
chance?
have.
Okay, we'll talk about it when we get to your team. Because I'm
Yeah.
captaincy actually. Let's talk about that now quickly, Prez. I've currently got it on Salah, but I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think I'm going Salah. I think this is a week, Prez, again, where I'll be trying something. I think a lot actually. This is not being maverick. I think a lot of managers I've spoken to are going for different captaincy this week. I think there's a spread of 3, maybe 4 if we include Bruno Fernandes. I'm thinking. I know you're going to. Let me hear your thoughts on this. I'm thinking to go Palmer again. Yes, I know Bournemouth are a very good team, but I'm actually considering it again, Prez, to go with it. What do you think?
Between Palmer and Isak, I don't think there's much to separate at all.
Yeah.
Like when you'll see Rob T's numbers, they'll probably come out on a Monday or a Sunday.
Yeah.
You'll see that Isak will be higher than Palmer on expected goals. But then Palmer has also assist threat. Palmer also has bonus, although
Yeah.
Isak also gets bonus. Palmer gets more points for a goal.
Yep.
So I think eventually it's going to be very close between the two. And I'm also thinking between Isak and Palmer. But because I watched Isak and the guy was so good, if he can get like a rest in that FA Cup game, I would like it even more. Because there was this thing of he came off early. Did he have some tightness? I think someone tweeted. I don't know if it was true.
I did see that as well, Prez.
Yeah.
I didn't authorize, doesn't validate it if I'm totally honest with you, but I did see that same quote.
Yeah.
And it did make me think, oh, okay.
So anyway, not to scaremonger anyone.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
me, my
yeah.
bus captain, like if maybe a good transition to my team, is basically it's on Isak. That was my first instinct. It was either Palmer or Isak.
Yeah.
Originally, I thought Palmer, and then I was like, Chelsea are on the down a little bit, right? I mean,
Yeah.
It's not a team that that scored those goals against Brighton, and you can expect like a Palmer mega 20-pointer. Maybe it can happen, but who out of them can score a hat trick these days? I think Isak. Isak is the one. So that was my first instinct. I definitely won't be captaining Salah. Like, unless something
Why
happens.
is that, Prez? Can I ask you? I know the obvious answer. Nottingham Forest are
They're a
astonishing
good team.
defense.
I'd be shocked if Liverpool score more than 2 goals.
But Salah, he'll mostly score both of them, Prez. Knowing the way he has been this season, is that not in your head, Prez? That
he can. But we are playing this game against other people. I assure you, Salah will be 160% EO. If you have to catch people who are ahead of you, who basically just play in a way where I only captain Salah, Salah is God, this is where your skill comes in and your judgment. You could be wrong. It could fall flat on your face. But there are weeks where you can take a risk against the field. And I think this is that week. Away to Nottingham Forest, we've just talked about it, right?
Yeah.
That they have been so good. Now, I don't think they keep a clean sheet. So going back to Sells, I'm not contradicting myself that Sells won't keep a clean sheet. But I'm saying there's not 3 goals here. They've been very organized. They beat Liverpool at Anfield, kept a clean sheet.
Yeah, they
did.
Yeah.
So I just think I fancy a Liverpool win, but a marginal one, a 1-0, a 2-1, something like that.
So do you think he'll be the highest captain, Prez, still? Is that what you're saying? This game week? Yeah.
Like I went to work and one of my colleagues, he sometimes comes to me and asks me for help. He doesn't know, by the way, I do all this, right? He just thinks
seriously?
Because I win the work league. So he's like, oh, you must know something. So he came to me and I was like, dude, I don't think you should captain Salah. He's like, you're crazy, man. Just get out of here. So, that's what people's attitude is. Of course I'll captain Salah. What do you mean?
Yeah. I'm just still thinking, imagine being in Praz's work mini league. Oh, that's grim. And they don't know. Oh my goodness, that's unfair. That is. But anyway, so you're definitely not Salah. So you're kind of what 70% Isak, Praz maybe.
I think 60-40. 60 Isak, 40 Palmer. Yeah, I think it's between those two. But with Bruno, the thing is, again, Southampton home is the best out of all those fixtures. But you just never know Man United. Which Man United turn up? Will Bruno play in the 10 or will he play in the pivot? So anyway, he's not in the conversation. It's 60% Isak, 40% Palmer. But reading out my team, I don't think my team is too different from yours. So instead of your Cells, I have Raya.
Yeah.
But Spurs also score a lot of goals, right? So there's not much in it. Then instead of Hall, I have Munoz. Again, I think they're very similar in terms of potential this week. Instead of Mbumo, I have Bruno. and I don't have Raul Jimenez, I will have Chris Wood coming on if João Pedro doesn't make it. So I think that's fine. So my position, if João Pedro is out for a couple of weeks, I'll just bench him for a couple of weeks, because next week I'll be putting out this midfield five for a very long time now, and I think you will
Yeah,
do the same.
yeah,
So if you're doing that, and Chris Wood next week plays Southampton at home, I'll again be benching João Pedro anyway. So I'm happy to bench João Pedro for a while. This is why I wanted a robust team. Like, I could get one more injury. Like, I don't want to jinx it, but Munoz could get injured in the FA Cup. I still wouldn't make a transfer. I would still bench João Pedro. I would bench Munoz. I would play Robinson. Now I want to start accumulating transfers, because that for me now is the edge. Have a robust team, accumulate transfers, play your chips in the right way, and hope to get lucky.
yeah. I had actually your words in my head midweek when I saw Chris Wood score. I was thinking of you because I remember I was trying to not persuade you, because I won't be able to persuade you, but say to you, why not Gabriel Jesus? Why not? And what you said, to be fair, not just because of the outcome, because Gabriel Jesus could have scored, but more the long-term planning. Chris Wood just fits into it perfectly.
Yeah,
And
I don't need to worry about that position.
no,
People with
no,
Jesus are now thinking, oh, he missed out the
yes,
Carabao Cup game because they played Havertz and they played Trossard
yep.
and Martinelli. Could they do that in the league? Yeah, they could, but they lost and Havertz wasn't great, so maybe not. But I just don't want to play. I just don't want to chance in FPL more than already the luck element.
And that's why you came to my mind, Praz. Exactly that. And my friends, I got a lot of Arsenal friends, and they were like, he could play right wing. He could be the solution there because they're struggling in that position as well. Clearly, Arteta's tried Tross. He's tried a lot of permutations. They lost a young boy there who got injured. So they're struggling. So Jesus could play there. And you came to my mind thinking, nah, I'm going to go Chris Wood. Just steady Eddie, just for now. It ticks the boxes. And yeah, like you said, the minutes, even though the fixtures might not be incredible, but they're good enough for someone like him. So makes perfect sense.
Yeah, so
João
looks like we're
Pedro.
both rolling.
I was going to ask you one question, Pras. So you said you just play Chris Wood if João Pedro's injured.
Well, if he's confirmed out, I'll play Chris Wood. But if
Okay.
if we don't hear anything, I'll just keep João Pedro and then we'll see.
Yeah.
Like, home to Liverpool is not that bad for Chris Wood. I think he'll again be like 40% EO. Like, not everyone has a team like mine who are and idiots like me who will bench Chris Wood. They'll play Chris Wood.
They will.
So
yeah.
There's no harm in playing a 40% EO Chris Wood home to Liverpool.
Yeah. And yeah, the team's looking solid. We're pretty similar, actually. We're nearly aligned, like you said. There's a couple of differences. I've got Jimenez instead of your Chris Wood as well. So it's not too bad this week, Praz. So no transfers for you this week, and you're definitely not going to captain Bruno Fernandes.
No, that's and definitely not captaining Salah.
Yeah, that one did surprise me. I thought of your rank and whatnot, I thought you might just stay consistent present and just go with Salah.
Dude, what's the point? What's the point of being safe? Like, in some situations, you can be safe when you're not sure. So, like, when I was not sure between Chris Wood or Mateta or Jesus, I went for the solid long term, but also higher owned option. In other weeks where I'm not sure between Palmer and Salah, I will maybe decide a little bit, okay, I just go for Salah, man. I mean, he's going to be higher EO. This week, I think there is a difference. There's a gap. There's a home game for Palmer, for Isak, versus an away game against a top 4 defense, a top 3 team. I think you have to take it. You have to take it on.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. Well, you know me, Praz. I went for it 2 weeks ago, and I got a little beating that week. Unfortunately, it was frustrating. It was against Ipswich. You know, Palmer, Chelsea had Ipswich, and I thought they got beaten fair and square. So, but this week I'll be there again with you. I don't think I'm going to go Isak. I think I'm going to be Palmer. So we will see. I don't think there's anything else for us to cover. Praz, any other questions or anything you want to run through? I think that's
I think we covered a lot more than our normal deadline dilemmas, because we are 5 days away from the deadline. But this, on a plus side, more people will get to listen to this because they will have like 3 days to listen to this content rather than, what is it, 7 hours if it's a Friday deadline, or
that's a good point.
Or maybe 30 hours if it's a Saturday deadline. So hopefully you enjoy it, and if you enjoy it, please hit the like button, and we really, really appreciate it.
All right. On that note, listen, I wish you good luck. Take it easy, everyone. See you later. Bye-bye.
Take care.